Mark, Lou was sensational tonight. You put him back in the game late. Was that by design? Was it his call or your call to get him back out there?
It was my call to get him back out there. It was his call to come out. He was, the game was at like 20 something to start the fourth quarter. And so I got him out there. He played early in the fourth, and he was gassed at that 4-minute timeout. So I asked if he could go another minute or two, or if he needed one, and he said he needed one. So I got him out, and then I got him back in. Obviously, we got the game closer, so I was trying to go get the game. But, yeah, he was sensational. And the thing that I think goes really unnoticed with him is he guarded Mitchell the whole night. And there's guys that get 40 in the NBA on certain nights, but I'm not sure how many of them guard a guy like Mitchell as effectively as Lou did. Mitchell had 22 on the game, and I don't think all of those were on Lou. We had other guys on him at different points. I think Mitchell probably only had about 16 or so on him. So for him to do it on both ends of the floor is incredible and a testament to his prowess as a defender. But obviously he had an unbelievable offensive night. Happy for him. He works really hard. He deserves it. So.
Joe Masato with the Oklahoman.
Mark, what impressed you the most there to close the game late in the fourth quarter when it looked like, the game was firmly in hand and then you guys fought back to make it close again?
I thought we competed for 48 minutes tonight, which, we've addressed, in this last stretch of games, but we also got some guys back, like Lou is back and his feet are obviously underneath him. That's like the most productive concussion ever. The guy at 42. Baisley is back and getting his legs underneath him. I thought he was really, really quietly very good tonight. His floor game was great, even though he didn't have as loud of a game. He was really, really good in the pick and roll and with his decisions. You definitely feel having Isaiah back, and you definitely feel the depth. And I thought we competed for much of the night. They were a really quality team, and some moments early in the second and then in the third, we just didn't sustain it all the way through. But it's a good lesson. You just have to have your foot on the gas against a team like that. But I thought, we outplayed them in the first and fourth, and I thought our competitive spirit and our togetherness was there all night.
Paris Lawson with OKCThunder.com.
Hey, Coach, I wanted to ask about that first quarter. Obviously, Lou played a huge role in that. But what did you think of the way you guys, the punch you guys were able to throw to start the game tonight?
I thought we were sharp. Our execution was really good. The stuff that we tried to clean up and address coming out of our last few games in practice definitely showed up. I thought our execution was great on both ends. And I thought we started the game competitively and really well-intentioned. And that's how you have to start games. First quarter's really important in the NBA. And I thought tonight we did throw the first punch. We made them play uphill and credit them. They're a good team. They got themselves right back in the game in the second and opened the lead up in the third. But we ran through the finish line tonight. I was pleased with how we played.
Nick Gallo with Thunder Broadcasting.
Yeah, Mark, Gobert's down there playing close to the rim. I think they had 10 blocks. I think you all shot maybe 36% in the paint, but that didn't stop you from continuing to attack the rim. What did you make of your guys' just sort of relentlessness of spirit in terms of continuing to attack down low, continuing to attack Gobert?
Yeah, that's why he's good, because, he can make you timid, and you can't play like that against them. You can't play scared of your own shadow down there. You have to be aggressive, but once you're aggressive, you also need to know how effective he is, and I thought, tonight we showed a little bit of our inexperience around the basket with him, with some of the plays we tried to make over him. He's seen that movie before, but in order to effectively attack him, you need both. You have to be really, really aggressive and play at the basket, but then you have to be able to make really good late reads at the rim. And that's why it's so hard to play against him. But if we're going to err on one side, we're going to err on aggression. I thought we did that tonight. There's lessons we can learn. And, next time we play him, there's stuff on film that we can learn from. But I really thought our guys, put their best foot forward tonight, really competed. And I thought that was another example of it. We played at the basket.
Barry Trammell with the Oklahoman.
Yeah, Mark, early in the year when Lou was shooting pretty well, he would even on games he's shooting well, he'd have some shots that missed badly. He seems to be doing that less and less. Is that a sign that his shooting, not just his percentage, but he's getting more comfortable and just becoming a better all-around shooter?
Yeah, and I think shooting's tricky. It's reps and it's shot selection. Those two things. I think understanding which shots are predictably the ones you're going to take, and then getting enough reps over time where you improve at those shots is kind of the recipe. Some guys come in the league and that's kind of what they do. Ty Jerome's an example. He's a young player. Svi's a young player, and those guys are obviously, ready-made shooters, and they're working more on the nuances. But, a guy like Lou, guys like Baisley, that are developing players, and that's not necessarily their strongest strength. It takes time. And Utah, they shoot 37% from three as a team, but they've got a lot of guys that are like 30, and that's something that comes with time. They've really Bogdanovich and Ingles and all their guys. I mean, they've kind of learned where their shots come from. They take very predictable shots. They've gotten a million reps. They've seen a lot of shots go in, and that's why their confidence is where it is. And players don't, they're not born into the NBA like that, most of them. And so we have to be patient, and we just have to kind of hang in there and help these guys understand what good shots are, get them the reps, and then hang with them through the ups and downs. And Lou's season, where he kind of started high and then had a dip, and obviously tonight shot it great, is a good microcosm of, kind of the developmental process with shooting, and the patience that it requires organizationally to allow those guys to grow into really good, consistent shooters.
Joe Masato with the Oklahoman.
Yeah, Mark, obviously the environment on offense for Lou is different when you're at full strength, but this game he's a primary creator out there. And I know he is, sometimes when Shea's out there as well, but there's more offensive pressure on him, it seems like. Do you learn more about him in a game like this, or what can you sort of like take away from a high scoring performance like this from him?
Yeah, I mean, you take, certainly, and I throw Baisley in that category. I throw Teo in that category, Poku. These are guys that are getting invaluable reps as primary playmakers on a lot of possessions. And we absolutely learn about it. And one of the dangers that you run into early in a guy's career, Lou and Bays are, kind of last year as an example, is they play effective roles on a team. But you can, fall into the trap of kind of cornering them into that role, and they never evolve from that. And you never really learn where their ceiling is as players. And that's one of, obviously we'd love to have, Shea on the court, but that's one of the benefits of, these circumstances is we get to take a look at other guys. And then, when you inject Shea back in, Lou Dort, there's other stuff he can do, he's proving that right now. Our Memphis game at home is a great example. They were really denying Shea all over the place, and we use Shea as a screener. And in order to do that, you've got to have kind of a primary creator. And Lou and Teo, they're getting unbelievable reps on that right now. And it only expands their games, and it only expands the possibilities of what we can do as a team. It only makes us more potent 1 through 5 on the court.
Christos Saltis with SDNA.
Hello, Coach. Hope you're doing well. Is there anything that's surprising you on Lou's game and his progress so far in the season? And how important for you is to have a two-way player like him?
I mean, organizationally, for us to, have a guy that was, a two-way player and is now developing his offensive game, like he's obviously a surefire starter in the NBA. He's proven that. And for him to expand his game the way that he has is really impressive. But to answer your first question, I'm not surprised at all. Lou Dort's a guy that, I give him a lot of credit. He went undrafted after kind of putting his name, or not kind of, he put his name in a year after college. And, he's climbed the mountain. He's a worker. He's got great humility. He's a great teammate. He's a great competitor. And like I said, tonight, for a guy that has it cooking the way that he did, the thing that is quietly the most impressive thing to me is what he did with Mitchell. For him to exert that kind of energy on offense and still throw his fastball defensively is beyond difficult to do. And on the list of guys, that can get 40 in a game, when you start looking at, who can do that on the defensive end to complement it, the list gets much shorter. And he just did that tonight.
Awesome. Thanks, Coach.
Thanks, guys.